What is up, everybody? It's Larry back with you, and I've been using the Galaxy S6 as my primary device for about 2 months. So in this video, I'm going to give you my pros and cons from hardware to software and just user experience. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. Okay, let's start off with talking about build quality. Now, I know everybody's made a big deal about Samsung stepping up their game and finally getting away from the plastic and fake leather and fake stitching and going with a metal and all glass build. That's great, and on paper it looked great, but to me, when I feel it, I like the way it feels in the hand, but the after effects of using it for a while, you have sliminess. The glass gets super slimy on the back. And if the first version that I had was the black, and I took it back and got white just so you wouldn't see those, but it still felt slimy. So my fix to that was going with the D-brand skin. They have a bunch of different skins, and I have a few different ones. This is the black carbon fiber. The reason I went with this is just because, so that way if I don't want to have a case on it, that I can actually not feel that sliminess. You have a camera bump on the back, which, you know, people would rip on Apple about their camera bump. This is more protruding, but I'm used to that with Samsung devices. They've been like that the last few years, so that's not a big deal for me. We'll talk more about the camera later on in the video. Fingerprint scanner is much improved, but yet it's still something I don't use. So they moved the speaker from the back to a down-facing speaker. That sounds pretty good, but to me, if you go full blast, you're gonna get distortion. So I always keep it one click below full. The buttons are great. The placement of them are perfect. The power button on the side is directly where my thumb falls. The volume buttons are directly where my index finger falls. If you're right-handed, well, I'm right-handed, so it works perfect for me. The screen is phenomenal. It's just amazing. The pixel density is ridiculous. I'll leave specs if you guys are spec heads and you want more information about specs. I'll leave links to the specs down below. I'm not really gonna get into them because it's nothing that I care too much about aside from camera. So specs will be in a link down below. And then, like Samsung's had the last couple times, you have the IR blaster along the top. Then on the back, next to the camera, you have the heart rate monitor, which was first introduced on the S5. Again, something I really don't use, but it's there if it is something that you're interested in. So let's get into the software. TouchWiz. Now, everybody has an opinion on TouchWiz, and I'd say 97% of them are negative. I'm not a huge fan of TouchWiz, but I'm used to TouchWiz. I guess maybe that's my thing. I'm used to TouchWiz. So I don't mind it as much as maybe some people. I'm not a pure vanilla Android guy. I really can't stand that type of thing. I like some features in my ROMs, in my OSs. So, but this time around, Samsung did learn a lesson, and they've stripped it down a lot compared to what they have in the past. That's everything from the camera. Instead of having everything baked into the camera, you can download more and it'll take you to the Samsung App Store to get things like Sound Shot and Smell-O-Vision, whatever else they offer. I don't know. Another thing with the software, and this could be a hardware thing or a software thing, but I'm gonna say it's software, and that's the storage. The original S6 that I bought day one was a 32 gig black. Now, I explained why I got rid of the black in the hardware portion of this video, but the other reason I exchanged it when I got the white is I got a 64, just because by the time I loaded all my stuff on, I was already maxed out of the 32. So you no longer have the expandable storage that Samsung was sort of known for. The other thing, and again, I'm gonna call this a software issue / hardware issue, but we'll say software for now because we're in this portion of the video, is the battery. Battery life is horrible. The way they make up for it is the fast charging, which is fantastic, and the wireless charging, which again is fantastic. So if I'm at my desk at home or at work and I have a wireless charger, I can easily drop it on there while I'm doing things throughout the day. If I'm down a lot and I need to go somewhere, plugging it in for a half an hour, 45 minutes with a quick charge will usually get me to where I need to be. But what I do miss that I had with my Note 4, my Note 3, my Note 2, I mean, pretty much every Samsung device that I've had in the past few years is removable batteries. Along with the storage, they got rid of that again this year. I would consider myself a power user. I can barely get 3/4 of my work day, which would be unplugging around, say, 7 o'clock. By 2 p.m., I need to plug in because I'm down to probably 10 to 15%. Another brilliant thing that Samsung did with the software is the double tap to launch the camera. It's extremely fast, a big plus for that type of feature. So the other thing Samsung has really stepped up in this iteration of their Galaxy phone is the camera. Now the camera is just fantastic on this one, and it's not just fantastic for a Samsung device. There's people picking this over the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, which has been the top rated. Well, the iPhone in general has always had the best cameras when it comes to cell phones. So like I said, they got rid of a lot of the bloatware built into the camera app. They have things like Pro Mode, which will give you more control over the camera, much like a DSLR. You can have white balance, ISO control, things like that. The long and the short of it is the camera is fantastic. I'll have a link down below with camera samples and video samples in full resolution for you guys to check out. One of the best Android cameras out, if not the best camera on a cell phone out right now. So my final thoughts on the S6 is I would highly recommend it to anybody, quite honestly. The pros far outweigh the cons. The cons are easily taken care of with things like skin and external battery packs and wireless chargers. I did a whole video on how I'm dealing with the battery issues with the S6. I'll leave a link for that down below. So that's gonna be about it, guys. If you have any more questions about the S6, hit me up in the comment section below, or the best place to really reach me is on Twitter at GeekyNerdDad. So if you've yet to subscribe to the channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below. If you enjoyed this video, give me the thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace while here.
What he said. I'll have a link down below with camera footage. I'll have a link down below with cameras. Battery life is atrocious. Battery life is atrocious. No. Battery life is horrible. So, to me, a skin is a must, because with a skin, I'm changing the dynamic if I don't use a case, but I can still fit a case on it if I want a case or if I don't have a case on it. Well, that doesn't make sense.